When she slipped into my room at midnight, stripped away her secrets, and sat on my bed with tears in her eyes, I knew everything was about to change. The clock on the nightstand showed 11:47 p.m. when Alex heard the soft sound of his apartment door opening. He looked up from his book, thinking maybe he had imagined it. Living alone for 3 months had made him jumpy sometimes. The building was old, and strange noises were common. But then he heard footsteps in the hallway, quiet, careful steps moving toward his bedroom. His heart started beating faster. He set down his book and listened carefully. The footsteps stopped right outside his door. Alex had been having trouble sleeping lately. Work was stressful, and coming home to an empty apartment every night made things worse. His roommate Jake had moved out to live with his girlfriend, leaving Alex with double the rent and half the company. Most evenings, he would read until late, hoping to tire himself out enough to fall asleep. The bedroom door opened slowly. Alex expected to see a stranger, maybe someone who had broken in. Instead, he saw someone he knew very well. It was Maya, his friend from college. They had dated for almost 2 years before deciding they were better as friends. That was over, 2 years ago now. Maya stood in the doorway looking nothing like her usual confident self. Her hair was messy and her clothes looked wrinkled. She was carrying her coat and shoes in her hands instead of wearing them. Her eyes were red like she had been crying. "Maya," Alex said, sitting up straighter in bed. "What are you doing here? How did you get in?" She held up a key. "You gave me this last year when I was watering your plants, remember? I never gave it back." Her voice sounded tired and shaky. Alex did remember. It was when he went to visit his parents for a week. Maya had offered to check on his apartment and water his small collection of houseplants. He had completely forgotten about the spare key. "Are you okay?" he asked, seeing how upset she looked. "What happened?" Maya didn't answer right away. She walked into the room and sat down on the edge of his bed, still holding her coat and shoes. She stared at the floor for a long moment. "I'm sorry for showing up like this," she finally said. "I know it's late and I know this is weird. I didn't know where else to go." Alex could see she was struggling to hold back tears. In all the time he had known her, Maya had always been the strong one. She was the person other people came to for advice. She never showed weakness or asked for help. Seeing her like this worried him. "You can tell me anything," he said gently. "What's going on?" Maya took a deep breath. "I broke up with Ryan tonight. Well, actually, he broke up with me. But I was going to break up with him anyway once I found out the truth. Ryan was the guy Maya had been seeing for the past 8 months. Alex had met him a few times at group gatherings. He seemed nice enough, though Alex had never gotten to know him well. "What truth?" Alex asked. "Everything about him was fake," Maya said, her voice getting stronger with anger. "His job, his apartment, his whole life story. I found out tonight that he's been lying about everything since the day we met." She set her coat and shoes down on the floor and turned to face Alex properly. "Remember how he told us he worked at that marketing company downtown? Well, he doesn't. He got fired from there 6 months ago and has been pretending to go to work every day. He's been living off credit cards and borrowing money from friends." Alex felt a surge of anger toward Ryan. "That's horrible. I'm so sorry." "That's not even the worst part," Maya continued. "The apartment he's been taking me to, it's not his. It belongs to his friend who's been traveling for work. Ryan has been staying there and pretending it's his place. And the car he drives? Also borrowed." Alex shook his head in disbelief. "How did you find all this out?" "His friend came back from his business trip tonight. I was at Ryan's place when the real tenant showed up with his luggage, asking who I was and what I was doing in his apartment." Maya laughed bitterly. "You should have seen Ryan's face. He couldn't come up with a good lie fast enough." "What did you do?" "I left immediately. Ryan followed me to the parking lot, trying to explain everything. He said he was going to tell me the truth soon. He said he only lied because he wanted to impress me." Maya's voice cracked slightly. 8 months, Alex. 8 months of lies." Alex could see how hurt and betrayed she felt. Maya valued honesty above almost everything else. She had always been straightforward with people, sometimes to a fault. Being lied to like this must have felt like a personal attack on everything she believed in. I drove around for 2 hours after that, Maya said. I didn't want to go home because I knew I would just sit there and cry. I thought about calling my sister, but she would just tell me she never liked Ryan anyway. I thought about going to a friend's house, but everyone else is probably asleep by now. She looked up at Alex. Then I remembered I still had your key, and I knew you would probably still be awake reading. You always were a night owl. Alex smiled slightly. She was right about that. Even in college, he had preferred staying up late to getting up early. So I drove over here, without really thinking about it, Maya continued. It wasn't until I was standing outside your door that I realized how strange this might seem. But by then, I really needed to talk to someone who would understand. Alex did understand. He had always been a good listener, and Maya had come to him for advice many times during their friendship. Even after they stopped dating, they had maintained a close friendship built on trust and mutual respect. I'm glad you came, Alex said sincerely. You know you can always talk to me about anything. Maya smiled for the first time since she had arrived. I hoped you would say that. Maya moved further onto the bed and sat cross-legged facing Alex. She had always done this when they were dating and needed to have serious conversations. It was her way of getting comfortable and settling in for a long talk. The worst part isn't even the lying, she said, running her hands through her hair. It's how stupid I feel. How did I not see any of this? There were so many signs and I ignored them all. Alex set his book aside completely and gave her his full attention. What kind of signs? Well, for starters, he never wanted me to come to his workplace. Every time I suggested meeting him for lunch or bringing him coffee during a break, he would make excuses. He said his boss was really strict about visitors. Maya shook her head. I thought he was just being professional. She started counting, on her fingers. He never had coworkers' phone numbers saved in his phone. When I asked about his work friends, he would change the subject. He never talked about specific projects or clients, and now I know why, because none of it was real. Alex listened carefully, remembering his own red flags he had noticed, but never mentioned. I have to admit, something did seem off when we all went out for your birthday last month. Remember when the waiter asked for his ID to check his credit card? Ryan got really nervous and kept patting his pockets like he couldn't find his wallet. Yes, Maya said, her eyes lighting up with recognition. He ended up using cash that night, said he forgot his cards at home. But who forgets their entire wallet these days? And remember how he always wanted to drive separately to places instead of riding together? Alex added. Even when it would have been easier for everyone to carpool. Maya nodded sadly. Because the car wasn't really his. He probably had to return it by certain times or something. God, I feel so foolish. Hey, Alex said firmly. Don't blame yourself for trusting someone. That's not a character flaw. The problem is with him, not you. Tears started forming in Maya's eyes again. But I pride myself on being smart about people. I study psychology, for crying out loud. I should have been able to read him better. Being smart about people doesn't make you immune to being lied to, Alex said. Especially when someone is deliberately trying to deceive you. Ryan clearly put a lot of effort into maintaining his fake story. Maya wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I keep thinking about all the times he said he loved me. Were those lies too? Was any of it real? This was the part that Alex could see was hurting her the most. Maya didn't just feel betrayed about the practical lies, the job, the apartment, the car. She felt betrayed on an emotional level. She was questioning whether Ryan had ever cared about her at all. I think that feelings might have been real, Alex said carefully. People can have genuine emotions even when they're living a lie. But that doesn't excuse what he did to you. How can you love someone and lie to them every single day? Maya asked. Every morning when I texted him, "Have a good day at work," he had to know he was deceiving me. Every time we talked about the future, he knew it was all built on fake foundations. Alex didn't have a good answer for that. He had never understood how people could maintain long-term lies in relationships. It seemed exhausting and ultimately pointless. Maybe he got in too deep, Alex suggested. Maybe he told one small lie at the beginning and then he had to keep making up bigger lies to cover the first one. That's what he said tonight, Maya replied. He claimed it all started because he was embarrassed about losing his job. He said he was planning to find new work and tell me the truth once he got back on his feet. But Alex, it's been 6 months since he lost that job. How long was he planning to keep this up? Probably until he got caught, which is exactly what happened. Maya was quiet for a moment, thinking. You know what scares me the most? If his friend hadn't come back tonight, I might have never found out. We've been talking about moving in. Together. Can you imagine if I had signed a lease with him? Or worse, if I had moved into that apartment thinking it was ours? The thought made Alex angry. He would have had to come clean eventually. You can't fake having a lease or paying rent. Indefinitely. Unless he was planning to disappear, Maya said quietly. Maybe that was always his exit strategy. String me along until he couldn't maintain the lies anymore, then just vanish. Do you really think he would have done that? Maya shrugged. I don't know what to think anymore. I thought I knew him, but apparently I didn't know him at all. The person I was dating doesn't even exist. She pulled her knees up to her chest and wrapped her arms around them. This whole thing has made me question my judgment about everything. How can I trust my instincts about people when they were so completely wrong about Ryan? Your instincts weren't wrong, Alex said. You said yourself that there were signs you noticed but chose to ignore. That means your gut was trying to warn you, but you talked yourself out of listening to it. Because I wanted to believe him, Maya admitted. I wanted to believe that I had found someone honest and stable and successful. I ignored the warning signs because they didn't fit the story I wanted to be true. Alex could understand that. Everyone did it sometimes, saw what they wanted to see instead of what was actually there. The good news is that you found out now instead of even later, he said. And you handled it perfectly. You left immediately when you discovered the truth. You didn't let him talk you into staying or giving him another chance. He did try, Maya said. He followed me to the parking lot and kept saying he could explain everything. He wanted me to go somewhere private so we could talk it through. But you didn't. No, I didn't. Because I realized that nothing he could say would change. The fact that he had been lying to me for months, there's no explanation that makes that okay. As they talked, Maya gradually relaxed more. She moved from sitting cross-legged to lying on her side, propping her head up with her hand. Alex noticed she had taken off her sweater and was now just wearing a simple t-shirt. She had always been comfortable around him even after they broke up. Can I ask you something, Maya said, looking directly at him. When we were dating, did you ever lie to me about anything important? The question caught Alex off guard. He thought about it seriously, before answering. No, I don't think I ever lied to you about anything that mattered. Maybe small things like saying I liked a movie when I thought it was just okay. But never about my job or where I lived or who I was. Why not? She asked. What made you choose honesty when Ryan chose lies? I guess because lying takes too much energy, Alex said. You have to remember what you told different people. You have to keep track of your stories. And eventually, you always get caught. It seems easier to just tell the truth from the beginning. Maya smiled slightly. That's one of the things I always appreciated about you. You never tried to be someone you weren't. Even when we first met, you were just yourself. Alex remembered their early days together in college. He had been nervous around Maya at first because she was so confident and outgoing while he was quieter and more reserved. But she had seemed to like him exactly as he was. I was actually insecure about that sometimes, he admitted. You were so social and popular, and I was just the guy who preferred staying in and reading books. I sometimes wondered if you would rather be with someone more exciting. Are you kidding? Maya said. Your calm personality was exactly what I needed. I was always running around stressed about something. Classes, social drama, family issues. Coming home to you was like finding peace. They looked at each other for a moment, both remembering what their relationship had been like. It had been good in many ways. They had rarely fought, and when they did disagree, they talked through their problems like adults. So why did we break up again? Maya asked with a small laugh. I'm remembering all the good things right now. Because we wanted different things for the future, Alex reminded her. You wanted to move to the big city after graduation and start your career right away. I wanted to take things slower and maybe stay local for a while. Right, Maya nodded. And we both knew long distance wouldn't work for us. We were too young and had too many other things we wanted to focus on. It was the right decision at the time, Alex said. We both got to pursue what we wanted without holding each other back. And we stayed friends, which was important to me, Maya added. Not everyone can do that after a breakup. They had managed to maintain their friendship over the years, though. They saw each other less frequently now. They would text occasionally and see each other at group gatherings, but they rarely spent time alone together like this. I miss talking to you like this, Maya said quietly. Really talking, I mean, not just small talk at parties. I missed it too, Alex admitted. You were always the person I could talk to about anything. Even now? She asked. Even after everything that's changed? Especially now, he said. Nothing about our friendship has changed, Maya. I still care about you just as much as I always did. Maya's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they looked like tears of relief rather than sadness. I was hoping you would say that, because sitting here talking to you is the first time I've felt safe and comfortable in months. Safe how? Alex asked. Safe to be myself, she explained. With Ryan, I always felt like I had to be the perfect girlfriend. I had to look good all the time, say the right things, be impressive. I was constantly worried about whether he really liked me, or if he might leave me for someone better. Alex found this surprising. The Maya he knew had never lacked confidence, or worried about being good enough for anyone. I didn't realize you felt that way in your relationship, he said. I didn't either until tonight, Maya replied. But now that it's over, I can see how much energy I was putting into trying to be what I thought he wanted. I wasn't being authentic. She shifted closer to him on the bed. But with you, I never had to pretend. You saw me at my worst, stressed. About exams, crying over family problems, wearing pajamas and eating ice cream for breakfast, and you still wanted to be with me. Of course I did, Alex said. Those weren't your worst moments. Those were just real moments. Everyone has them. That's what I mean, Maya said, smiling. You never made me feel bad about being human. They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Alex could smell Maya's perfume, the same one she had worn in college. It brought back a flood of memories, studying together in the library, watching movies on weekend nights, long conversations that lasted until dawn. Alex, Maya said eventually, her voice softer now. Can I tell you something else? Of course. The reason I came here tonight wasn't just because I needed someone to talk to, she said, looking down at her hands. I came because you're the only person who has ever made me feel completely accepted for who I am. And after spending 8 months pretending to be someone I'm not, I desperately needed to remember what that felt like. Alex felt his heart skip a beat. He had always cared deeply about Maya, and hearing that their relationship had meant so much to her touched him more than he expected. You don't need to pretend with anyone, he said gently. You're amazing exactly as you are. I forgot that. For a while, she admitted. But being here with you is helping me remember. She reached over and took his hand, just like she used to do when they were together. Her touch was warm and familiar, and Alex felt a rush of the old feelings he had worked so hard to put behind him. Maya, he started, not sure what he wanted to say. I know, she said quickly. I know this is complicated. I know the timing is terrible. I just broke up with someone a few hours ago, and you probably think I'm just seeking comfort. Are you? He asked honestly. Maya was quiet for a long moment, considering the question. Maybe partly, she said finally. But it's more than that. Sitting here with you, I'm realizing how much I missed this connection we had. How much I missed feeling understood. Alex felt torn between his desire to comfort her and his awareness that she was vulnerable and potentially not thinking clearly. I don't want you to do anything you might regret tomorrow, he said carefully. I won't regret being honest with you, Maya replied. Whatever happens next, I'm glad I told you how I feel. Alex looked at Maya's hand holding his and felt a wave of conflicting emotions. Part of him wanted to pull her closer and tell her he had never stopped caring about her. But another part of him knew that would be taking advantage of her emotional state. "Maya," he said softly, "I need to ask you something, and I want you to really think about your answer." "Okay," she said, though she looked a little nervous. "If Ryan hadn't lied to you, if you had found out tonight that he was everything he claimed to be, would you still be here with me right now?" The question hung in the air between them. Maya's expression changed as she considered what he was asking. She let go of his hand and sat back slightly. "That's a really good question," she said slowly. "And I'm not sure I like what the honest answer might be." "I'm not trying to make you feel bad," Alex said quickly. "I just think it's important for both of us to understand why you're here and what you're really looking for." Maya nodded and was quiet for a long moment. Alex could see her thinking carefully about his question. This was one of the things he had always respected about her. She didn't give quick, easy answers to difficult questions. "You're right to ask that," she said finally. "If Ryan had been everything he claimed to be, I probably wouldn't be here tonight. I would be at home, maybe texting you about something funny that happened, but I wouldn't be sitting on your bed holding your hand." Alex felt a mix of relief and disappointment at her honesty. "But," Maya continued, "I don't think that means my feelings right now aren't real. Yes, finding out about Ryan's lies made me run to you, but it also made me realize something important." "What's that?" "It made me realize that what I had with Ryan was never real, partly because I wasn't being real either. I was trying so hard to be the perfect girlfriend that I lost track of who I actually am. But sitting here with you, I remember exactly who that is." Alex understood what she meant, but he was still worried about the timing. "I just don't want either of us to make a decision we might regret later. You've had a really difficult night. Your emotions are all over the place." "My emotions are intense right now," Maya agreed. "But they're not confused. I know the difference between seeking comfort and recognizing something real." She moved closer to him again, but this time she didn't take his hand. Instead, she just looked directly into his eyes. "Alex, can I tell you what I've been thinking about for the past few months, even before tonight happened?" "Of course." "I've been thinking about how different I feel when I'm with you compared to when I'm with other people. Even at group gatherings, when we're just talking casually, I feel more like myself than I do anywhere else." Alex had noticed that too, though he had tried not to read too much into it. "I thought maybe it was just nostalgia," Maya continued. "You know, remembering the good old days. But tonight made me realize it's not about the past. It's about who I am when I'm around you right now." "Who are you when you're around me?" Alex asked. Maya smiled. "I'm calmer, I'm more honest. I don't feel like I have to perform or impress anyone. I can just be myself, and know that's enough." "It's always been enough," Alex said softly. "I know that now, but I forgot it for a while." She paused. "The thing is, I don't think this feeling is just one-sided. I think you feel it too." Alex couldn't deny that. He had always felt comfortable and natural around Maya, even after they broke up. Their friendship had continued so easily, because being around her never felt forced or awkward. "I do feel it," he admitted. "But Maya, I'm scared of messing up our friendship. What we have now is good, it's stable. If we try to turn it into something romantic again and it doesn't work out, we might lose even the friendship." "That's a valid fear," Maya said. "But isn't it also possible that we might gain something even better?" Alex had thought about this possibility many times over the years, usually late at night when he was feeling lonely. He had wondered if they had given up too easily when they were younger, if they should have tried harder to make things work. "We're different people now than we were in college," he said. "We've both grown and changed. What if we're not as compatible as we used to be?" "Then we'll find that out and deal with it like adults," Maya replied. "But Alex, what if we are even more compatible now? What if we're both finally ready for what we weren't ready for before?" It was a tempting thought. Alex had to admit that his feelings for Maya had never completely gone away. He had dated other people over the years, but none of those relationships had felt as natural and comfortable as what he had shared with Maya. What about the practical issues that broke us up before? He asked. You're still career-focused, and I'm still more of a homebody. Those fundamental differences haven't changed, haven't they? Maya asked. I've been living in the big city for 2 years now, and you know what I've learned? It's lonely. All that ambition and career success doesn't mean much if you don't have someone real to share it with. Alex was surprised by this admission. Maya had always seemed so driven and independent. And you, she continued, you've been living on your own, managing your own life, building your own career. You're not the same person who is afraid to take risks and leave his comfort zone. She had a point. Alex had changed more than he realized over the past few years. He was more confident now, more willing to put himself out there. So what are you suggesting? He asked. I'm suggesting that maybe we don't have to choose between being careful and being honest, Maya said. Maybe we can take this slowly and see what happens. We don't have to make any big decisions tonight. Alex felt some of his anxiety ease at this suggestion. He had been thinking in terms of all or nothing, but Maya was right that they could approach this more gradually. What would taking it slowly look like? He asked. It would look like admitting that we still have feelings for each other and that we want to explore them, Maya said. But also acknowledging that the timing is complicated and we need to be thoughtful about how we move forward. That sounds reasonable, Alex said, feeling hopeful for the first time all evening. The most important thing, Maya added, is that we're completely honest with each other about what we want and what we're afraid of. No games, no pretending, no trying to be what we think the other person wants. Just being ourselves, Alexei said. Just being ourselves? Maya agreed. They sat looking at each other, both feeling like they had reached an important understanding. The intense emotions of the evening had settled into something calmer but no less significant. So where does that leave us right now? Alex asked. Maya smiled. Right now, it leaves us as two people who care about each other very much and want to see if there might be something more between us, but who are smart enough to take their time and do this right. I can live with that, Alex said, smiling back at her. Good, Maya said, because I'm not going anywhere. The clock now showed 2:30 a.m., but neither Alex nor Maya felt tired. They had spent the last hour talking about everything, their hopes, their fears, their mistakes, and their dreams. The conversation had moved beyond the immediate crisis with Ryan to deeper topics about what they both wanted from life. I have a confession to make, Maya said, curling up on her side facing Alex. I've been thinking about you a lot lately, even before tonight, especially after group gatherings when I would drive home and realize that talking to you was the best part of my evening. Alex felt his heart warm at this admission. I've been thinking about you too, more than I probably should have considering you were with Ryan. What did you think about? She asked softly. I wondered if you were happy. Really happy, not just going through the motions. And I wondered if you ever missed what we had together. He paused. I also wondered if I had made a mistake letting you go so easily. Did you think you made a mistake? Maya asked. Alex considered this carefully. At the time, no. I think we both knew we weren't ready for something serious. We were too young and had too many other things we wanted to figure out first. But now, sometimes I think we might have been too quick to give up. Maya nodded. I've had the same thought, especially recently when I was with Ryan and something good would happen, like I'd get a promotion at work or have a great day, and my first instinct was always to call you and share the news. You could have called me, Alex said. We're friends. I would have been happy to hear your good news. I know, but it felt weird calling you when I had a boyfriend. Ryan never said I couldn't, but it didn't feel right. Maya frowned. Looking back, that should have been another red flag. If your relationship is healthy, you shouldn't feel guilty about maintaining friendships. Alex had never thought about it that way, but she was right. In a good relationship, partners should encourage each other's friendships, not make them feel complicated or inappropriate. Ryan was probably threatened by our history, Alex said. A lot of people have trouble with their partners being friends with exes. Maybe, but that's his problem to work through, not mine to manage by cutting off important friendships. Maya's voice carried a note of frustration. I can't believe I let myself shrink my world to make him more comfortable. You didn't know you were doing it at the time, Alex said gently. It's easy to see these things clearly now, but when you're in the middle of a relationship, these changes happen gradually. They talked for another hour about their past relationships, their career goals, their families, and their plans for the future. Alex was struck by how much Maya had grown and matured since college. She was still the same person at her core, smart, funny, caring, but she had gained confidence and perspective that made her even more attractive to him. Maya seemed to be having similar thoughts about him. You know what I've always loved about talking to you, she said. What's that? You actually listen, like really listen. Most people are just waiting for their turn to talk, but you hear what I'm saying and respond to it thoughtfully. She smiled. Ryan used to nod along when I talked, but I could tell he was thinking about other things. With you, I know I have. Your full attention. That's because what you say matters to me, Alex replied. It always has. As the conversation continued, they both began to relax completely. Maya moved closer to Alex on the bed, eventually resting her head on his shoulder. It felt natural and comfortable, like no time had passed since they were together. Alex, Maya said quietly, I need to ask you something important. What is it? Are you willing to give us another try? Not tonight, not tomorrow, but when the timing is right? When I've had time to process everything that happened with Ryan and when we've both thought seriously about whether this is what we really want, Alex felt a surge of hope mixed with nervousness. Yes, he said without hesitation. I would like that very much. Even though it might not work out? Even though we might discover we're better as friends after all? Even then, Alex confirmed. I think we owe it to ourselves to find out. We're both different people now. Maybe those differences that seemed so important in college aren't actually deal breakers anymore. Maya lifted her head to look at him. What if they are? What if we try and realize we want completely different things from life? Then we'll have learned something important about ourselves and what we need in a partner. And hopefully, we'll still be able to maintain our friendship. Alex paused. But what if they're not deal breakers? What if we discover we're even better together now than we were before? That's what I'm hoping for, Maya admitted. But I want to do this right this time. I want us to be completely honest with each other about everything. No trying to be the perfect boyfriend or girlfriend. Just being ourselves and seeing if that's enough. It will be enough, Alex said confidently. At least on my end. The person I fell for in college was the real you. The one who stayed up too late studying, who cried during sad movies, who got excited about little things like finding a good parking spot. Maya laughed. I still get excited about good parking spots. Good, Alex said, smiling. Don't ever change that about yourself. As the night wore on, they made plans for how they would handle this new development in their relationship. Maya would take some time to process the breakup with Ryan and figure out what she had learned from that experience. They would continue their friendship as normal, but with the understanding that they were both interested in exploring something more when the time was right. How long do you think you'll need? Alex asked. I don't know exactly, Maya said. Maybe a month or two. I don't want to rush into anything new while I'm still dealing with the emotional aftermath of Ryan's betrayal. That wouldn't be fair to either of us. Take all the time you need, Alex assured her. I've waited this long to figure out if we still have something special together. I can wait a little longer to do it right. And in the meantime, we'll just be friends. Normal friends who hang out and talk and support each other. Exactly. Though maybe we could hang out a little more than we have been lately. I've missed spending time with you. I'd like that, Maya said. I need to remember who I am outside of a romantic relationship anyway. These past few months I got so caught up in being Ryan's girlfriend that I forgot how to just be Maya. As the sky outside started to lighten with the first hints of dawn, Maya finally began to feel tired. She had been running on adrenaline and emotion for hours, but now that everything was settled between them, exhaustion was setting in. I should probably head home, she said reluctantly. I have to work tomorrow and I need at least a few hours of sleep. You can stay here if you want, Alex offered. I can sleep on the couch and you can have the bed. It's probably safer than driving when you're this tired. Maya considered this offer. She was tired, and the idea of going home to her empty apartment didn't sound appealing. Are you sure you don't mind? Of course not, I want you to be safe. Okay, she said gratefully. But you don't have to sleep on the couch. This bed is big enough for both of us, and it's not like we haven't shared a bed before. Alex hesitated for a moment, wanting to make sure they weren't moving too fast or putting themselves in a complicated situation. Just sleeping, Maya clarified, seeing his hesitation. I just don't want to be alone tonight, and I feel safe here with you. Just sleeping, Alex agreed. They both got ready for bed quietly, moving around each other with familiar ease. Maya borrowed one of Alex's t-shirts to sleep in, just like she used to do in college. Alex couldn't help but smile at how natural it all felt. As they settled into bed, Maya curled up on her side, facing away from Alex, but close enough that he could feel the warmth of her presence. Thank you, she said softly. For listening, for understanding, for being exactly who you are. Thank you for trusting me enough to come here tonight, Alex replied. I know it wasn't easy. It was exactly what I needed, Maya said. Good night, Alex. Good night, Maya. Within minutes, Maya was asleep, breathing deeply and peacefully. Alex lay awake a little longer, thinking about everything that had happened and feeling hopeful about what might come next. Whatever the future held for them, he knew they had taken an important step toward figuring it out together.